My gut tells me, Paul, like he will not make it to that. That someone like the Patriots, Commanders, these teams with a ton of cap space with young quarterbacks will be more aggressive and they will look to add Cooper Kupp to their team. But if he were to hit the market, it's a no-brainer. Like it's exactly what Stefon Diggs was last year.
Yesterday, we saw some very interesting news about a guy that used to be the best wide receiver, at least statistically, in the NFL. I want to say it was 2-3 years ago that you could have made a case if you wanted to, given that he was the Triple Crown leader at the wide receiver position, that Cooper Kupp was the league's best. Cooper Kupp put out this post, the Rams wide receiver, on Twitter yesterday, quote, "I was informed that the team will be seeking a trade immediately and will be working with me and my family to find the right place to continue competing for championships. I don't agree with the decision and always believed it was going to begin and end in LA. Still, if there's one thing I've learned over the years, there are so many things that are out of your control. It is how you respond to these things that you look back on and remember. 2024 began with one of the best training camps of my career. Preparations start now for 2025. Highly motivated, as healthy as ever, and looking forward to playing elite football for years to come. Love you guys, but coming for it all."
So they're going through a hard reset, it looks like. Cooper Kupp, we had reports that Matt Stafford probably will play next year, but potentially not in
He
Los
could be
Angeles
elsewhere as
either,
well. Right.
which is interesting. Immediately, I think the Texans' antennas go up right away because of what they need at wide receiver, right?
It depends. Do not trade for this guy.
Oh, yeah. Totally agree. I would not trade for him at all. You wait till he gets cut.
You have to have diamond hands right now. I understand the temptation for a lot of Texans fans out there to slam the table and say, we need receivers. Some of you people are a little bit too fantasy football cultured. You're a little bit too deep in. Those are a lot of the people that were like, they need to trade for every single wide receiver last year. Was the Stefon Diggs trade ultimately a successful trade? Unfortunately, no, because he didn't make it through the whole year. And you only have him for 1 year, and you gave up a second-round pick to get him. Hey, them's the breaks. Had Diggs had a good year, you make it to a Super Bowl, you make it to an AFC Championship game, different story. Are you going to do that again with someone like Cooper Kupp, who is not the Cooper Kupp of old? Are you going to bring back Stefon Diggs when it stands to reason that Stefon Diggs is not going to be the Stefon Diggs of old? It would make more sense to bring back Stefon Diggs than trading for Cooper Kupp. But I'm of the mindset that you wait for receivers to be cut this offseason. There will be markets for some of these guys, but the salary situations for a guy like Tyreek Hill, for a guy like Cooper Kupp, it lends itself to, if you sit back patiently and those guys get cut, guess where they're going to want to play? So this is, I think, the way the Texans should be looking at their wide receiver position when it comes to acquiring already in the NFL talent. Wait and see what might fall into your lap. And if you don't get anything, then you focus on what you can potentially get in the draft. Maybe you put a little bit more effort into that position and you think about maybe getting a guy towards the back of the first round. I do think you should be focusing on the offensive line there, but sometimes best player available, wide receiver should be up there. But wait it out, see who's available, including with Cooper Kupp. I would love to see Cooper Kupp here. I still think you got to wait.
Well, also think about what happened in the regular season last year. The Texans trade a second-round pick for Stefon Diggs, and pretty quickly after he gets injured, Amari Cooper gets traded for what? Was it like a sixth-round pick? It's like we saw some veteran wide receivers get moved in season this year for late draft capital. The in-season market's very different than the off-season market for what you would have to do to acquire those guys. I think signing Cooper Kupp would be awesome. There's still something there in terms of just being a possession wide receiver. You don't need him to be a big play guy. It would make a ton of sense. My gut tells me, Paul, like he will not make it to that. That someone like the Patriots, Commanders, these teams with a ton of cap space with young quarterbacks will be more aggressive and they will look to add Cooper Kupp to their team. But if he were to hit the market, it's a no-brainer. Like, it's exactly what Stefon Diggs was last year.
If the Rams are doing the hard reset, they might be willing to take on more of his money too if they were to move him elsewhere. And I'm sure that the Rams, seeing as they're already saying right now, hey, we're going to trade you, and Cooper Kupp made it public, it's out. Someone's going to make an offer. The question might be more about how much leverage do the Rams have saying that publicly.
It would be a good signing for the Texans if he was made available. I would not trade for him, no matter what they're eating for in LA for his contract. You only have like $5 million in cap space right now, or projected $6 million. So you can't really do that. You can't really trade for him without making major roster moves first. And it just feels like all that stuff will play out by the time he's actually on the move. But if they're putting this out right now, they must also have a feel that teams will want him. Somebody will want him at least.
Sure. And they told him that. Did they expect Kupp to post this publicly? Well, you give him this information. There's a very good chance that he's going to do it, and he's going to say goodbye before the actual trade itself happens. And he does want to be there next year for what it's worth. But I do think it stands to reason that maybe Matt Stafford could be on the move elsewhere as well if that were to go down.